The Joker is shrouded in secrecy. Even when the Joker was given a definitive origin narrative in the book Batman: The Killing Joke by Alan Moore and Brian Bolland, the tale concluded with the Joker himself acknowledging that it may have been another lie. The true identity of the figure has been a complete mystery up until this point, despite the fact that throughout the years a few possible identities have been suggested for him, and his Genesis story has come very close to being solved. In issue number 5 of Flashpoint Beyond, written by Jeff Johns, Tim Sheridan, Jeremy Adams, Hermanico, Mikkel Jan, Romulo Fajardo Jr., Jordi Bellar, and Rob Lay, there was a variety of information that came to light. None of them, however, came close to matching the level of shock that was caused by one of Flashpoint Joker's revelations to Thomas Wayne. The real name finally revealed. Since she had barely escaped death the previous time she was seen, the Flashpoint Batman's wife had been studying all she could about time travel, and he was in a desperate race against the clock to stop her. She was also aware of the identities of individuals from the previous era, since she had been searching for every possible time traveler in this convoluted scenario. One of the individuals was known as the Joker. Martha had questioned Psycho Pirate in depth about the disparities that existed between the two timelines. She learned the Joker's true identity from him, which is Jack Oswald White. In this other version of events, he had a happy life with his wife and kids, and he even had a job at Wayne Casino. Flashpoint Joker made the decision to save the life of the other Joker despite the fact that she had already eliminated everyone else connected to the original DC continuity. The primary reason for this was because she saw that his family was happier than hers had ever been. Given how well the identity of the Joker has been concealed up until now, this is an unexpected turn of events. Because it is commonly believed that doing so would undermine the mystique surrounding the persona, no one has ever had the audacity to risk revealing the character's true identity by giving them a name. Nevertheless, this discovery is connected to another narrative that came out not too long ago and attempted to provide a more clear-cut background for the Joker. The Dark Knight 3 Mad Hatters, which was also written by Jeff Johns and had art by Jason Fabok, may have explained the surprising discovery made by the New 52 Justice League that there were really 3 Jokers in the DC universe, but the conclusion to this story was much more decisive than its title implied. Following the death of one of them at the hands of Jason Todd, the other was put to death by the Joker who was still alive, thereby making the latter Joker the last Joker. In the conclusion of the 3 Jokers, he was presented as the authentic interpretation of the character. His background not only coincided precisely with the one described in The Killing Joke, but it also had an interesting twist that lent him a greater air of authenticity. The Dark Knight disclosed to Alfred in the concluding pages of Batman 3 Jokers that he had learned the Joker's name 1 week after they had first met. This statement shed light on 2 different aspects. The first thing to note is that after a week of meeting the Joker, Batman had already decided that the 2 other villains were imposters. The second theory is that the origin of the Joker as described in The Killing Joke was indeed accurate, but there was one key detail that the Joker did not know. His wife and kids did not pass away, rather they just departed. The family that Flashpoint Joker discusses in this issue is really that family. But, as is the case with most of the events that transpired in this timeline, things turned out quite differently for them and they were able to live happily ever after. At the conclusion of the 3 Jokers, Batman made the argument that the identity of the Joker must never ever be revealed because else the media will discover that his family has been living undercover all along. As soon as the Joker discovered it, he would go back and murder them all. The fact that Martha disclosed it in this setting, when there is no danger associated with others knowing the Joker's identity, lends credence to the notion that this is the Joker's true name. Not only has it now been established where he came from, but even his name has been given credence. The enigma that surrounded Joker has been cleared up, or has it? Over the course of many decades, a number of monikers for the Joker have been proposed. Jack Napier is by far the most well-known and well-liked of the bunch. The character Jack White first appeared in the Batman Arkham Asylum video game. This particular use of the name comes from that game. One further explanation is how Psycho Pirate was able to identify the Joker. In spite of the peculiarities of his life, he has no right to possess such information. The fact that 3 Jokers hasn't officially been established as canon just yet further undermines the believability of this discovery to a significant degree. Viewers who believe that Joker's origins should continue to be a mystery may be appeased here, but fans who desire a concrete solution can be satisfied with the amount of doubt that is shown here. The murky beginnings of the Joker's narrative. Bill Finger, Lou Sayer Schwartz, Win Mortimer, and George Russo's were the creative minds behind the initial examination of a probable origin tale for the Joker, which was shown in Detective Comics number 168 in the year 1951. In this story, the Joker is shown as a factory worker worker who assumes the identity of a criminal known as the Red Hood. The Red Hood became known as the Mad Joker when he dived into a vat of chemicals in an attempt to elude Batman and Robin during a failed robbery at the Ace playing card company. After emerging from the vat, the Red Hood was bleached and had been driven insane. This origin was expanded upon in the graphic novel The Killing Joke, in which the factory worker was given a background as a failed stand-up comedian who agrees to take on the Red Hood persona when he is approached by two mobsters to rob the factory in order to support his pregnant wife. The Killing Joke was published by DC Comics. Joker made the decision to carry out the theft after discovering that his wife and their unborn child had been murdered in a strange accident. However, Batman was able to prevent the heist, and in the turmoil, Joker ended himself slipping into a vat of accident by mistake. The Red Hood's mental stability ultimately broke down as he emerged from the chemicals irreversibly disfigured, and while he was still mourning the death of his wife, the Joker was born on that tragic night as a consequence of his transformation. In subsequent comic book stories, Moore and Ballin's origin for the supervillain has been referenced. For example, in the 2004 storyline Pushback, which was written by A.J. Lieberman, Al Barrionuevo, and Francis Portela, the protagonist of the failed comic is given the first name Jack before he undergoes his transformation. In the narrative Lovers and Madman, which took place in 2007, the Joker continued to use his civilian identity of Jack, while implying that he had always been a criminal and that he had been fascinated with Batman prior to his transformation into a hideous form. When Jack Nicholson's Joker was shown as a mafia enforcer called Jack Napier before his unexpected chemical bath in the 1989 Batman picture, this was the first occurrence of the Jack nickname for the Joker in any media. Implications with regard to the Primary DCU. It is not clear how much of what Martha says is accurate. The Joker is not recognized as being a credible storyteller in any reality. In light of this, each of the previously established pieces of the Joker's history that have been scattered around the DCU is consistent with her interpretation. Batman 3 Jokers, a miniseries published by DC, Black Label, and written by Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok, incorporated a significant portion of Moore and Ballin's origin story into their own narrative, while also implying that there were three distinct people terrorizing Gotham under the Joker moniker. Batman used the all-knowing Mobius chair to discover that there were three active clown princes of crime, and he joined Batgirl and Jason Todd in their investigation of the situation after learning that there were three active clown princes of crime from Johns and Fabok's Justice League Darkseid War. The shocking conclusion of the story was that Batman had used his detective skills to determine the Joker's identity years ago, but he doesn't reveal a name. Additionally, it was revealed that the Joker's wife and child had secretly faked their deaths and lived in relative safety under assumed identities in Alaska. In spite of the fact that it is set in an alternative timeline, Flashpoint Beyond has presented a vast scope that encompasses both the Omniverse and Hypertime, as well as unforeseen connections to events that are taking place in the Primary DC universe. There is still one issue left, and the Joker from this world is still on the run, so even more shocking turns could be in store for the multiverse after the events of Flashpoint Beyond. Is it possible that the Joker has been exposed? The events of Flashpoint Beyond take place in an alternate timeline that was created when Barry Allen stopped the Reverse Flash from killing his mother. This unintentionally led to a world in which many of the greatest heroes in the DC universe were unable to fulfill their destinies, and the globe was consumed by a war between the Amazons and the Atlanteans. In a departure from the original crossover event that took place in 2011, Flashpoint Beyond sees Barry die in an effort to recover his connection to the Speed Force. This occurs rather than Barry's abilities being restored and the timeline being repaired. The Joker starts murdering time travelers who are capable of altering the world that she and her spouse live in the same way that the Flash cannot, since he is not available to restore the DC universe. Before she killed Psycho Pirate, Martha questioned him in order to glean as much information as she could about the Primary DC universe, particularly information about her son Bruce Wayne's escapades as Batman in the DC timeline. Martha confronts Thomas and makes fun of him by telling him about the history of the DC universe Joker and how he performed in the Flashpoint universe. Martha claims that Jack White is a failed stand-up comic who landed a position as a janitor at Wayne Casinos, which is Thomas's illegal enterprise in Gotham that surreptitiously pays for his actions as this world's Batman. Despite the fact that Harmonico's artwork evokes Ballin's image of the comedian and his wife in The Killing Joke before their awful destiny, Jack's wife manages to live long enough to give birth to their baby, and the pair goes on to raise him in Gotham with joy and contentment. And that's it. it. Tell us what you think about the Joker's real name in the comments section below. Click the like button if you'd like to see more videos just like the one you're watching now. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be waiting for you in the next video.